If you got to see that Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi AI thing this weekend, it was like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday gig for 2 hours a day, and it went over AI. And basically, it shared a lot of things about how AI could work for you. The one thing I got out of that, and I only watched it for 1.5 days, I think it was just a little bit on Friday and then some on Saturday. But the one thing I got out of it was how to build your AI assistant. And I have an AI assistant that I built, and each day I make my AI assistant better and better. So a lot of people think that AI is like set it and forget it, and it'll be something that you can just keep on using, but it's actually growing with you. And in order for it to get better and get to know you, every single day, you have to get to know it better and what it can do for you. So if you want it to be really smart and do really smart stuff for you, then you need to train it every single day. I'm Nicole. This is Courage in Motion, and I'm currently looking for work. This is my podcast that I set up to make a podcast every single day about things that I'm doing. And this is the one thing that I did in the past couple of days. This has actually been going on for quite some time, but I'm going to share with you exactly how I upgraded in the past couple of days my AI assistant. I'm also going to share some things with you that weren't necessarily something that I would even think of, but I ended up working through this, and I think you'll find pretty interesting and you'll get a lot out of it. So like, share, and make sure that if you have somebody that you know who could use my help, I am actively, like I said, looking for work. This is Courage in Motion podcast, where I talk about how I'm going from less than $100, which is really true in real time, to making my dreams come true and building my business to over 7 figures. Now, that's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. And quite honestly, it's not going to happen unless I can get clients or I, win the lottery, which is highly unlikely because I don't even play it. So here I'm in a space where I find myself having to create more videos that are real me, like not avatars, but real me. And the reason I'm doing this is because people don't know who I am. They don't know what I can offer. They don't know what I'm able to achieve. And if I'm not out there telling them, then how are they going to know? So every single day, I make a couple of videos, I schedule them, and I help out people who are looking to figure out AI. So that's what I do. And that's home healthcare people, that's finance people, that's sometimes coaches, but not too often. I do find that I work much better with people who are already established in business and have a business that they already know, hey, I know I need this. Not someone that's just new and says, yeah, I super need assistant, like, oh, I need an assistant. But they don't even know what to tell the assistant. So years ago, before we had AI assistants, excuse me, I'm going to sneeze and I keep on getting my nose itchy. Before we had AI assistants, we had assistants from the Philippines or Malaysia or a different country overseas. And that was really big. That was, 7, 8 years ago, that was super big, get somebody for $2 an hour to do stuff. Well, it worked out, I guess, for some people, and some people made great livings at it and millions of dollars at it. I tried it, and it was really, really difficult because to get someone to think like I did and to get somebody to have a buy-in into my business just wasn't happening. Like, they'd show up or they'd sort of do it, or they'd bring their own flavor into it and then try to sell me on that, So having an AI assistant has been an exceptional experience for me because I'm able to train it to do exactly and say exactly and get exactly what I want in its AI brain. So this is my post about how I built my AI assistant. Now, this has been going on for quite some time, although I will say that in the last few days, I've really put so much more into this. After seeing that Tony Robbins event, which is kind of funny, I realized how many people doing so many different things with their assistants, and I wasn't really utilizing mine the way I really needed to. So I'm going to share with you today exactly what I did to create an N8N workflow into a Google spreadsheet where I have a GPT that I built on ChatGPT that is my assistant, that I can wake up and I can say, I have certain prompts that I use because I know what I want. And that assistant keeps me on track for my 90-day goals, for the projects that I'm working on, for the 15 to 30 LinkedIn connections that I reach out to writing my emails and sending my connect requests. All of that through this assistant. So I've been training it and training it. I'm going to show you exactly how I have been training it, if I can find my glasses, and what I do to train this assistant. So let me just get these on. All right. In order for me to build this, I had to go into what I do every day. So for the last month, I every day go through all of my notes on AI, and sometimes they're on and this is where it was hard. Sometimes they're on Claude, sometimes they're on Gemini, sometimes they're on ChatGPT, sometimes they're even on DeepSeek, sometimes they're on Grok. So I had to really look at this and say, okay, where do I want to build this? What is it that I really want to build? Because I had assistants everywhere that were doing different things. One of them would do sort of research stuff. One of them would do writing up, going through maybe URLs and researching those and then writing up the reports. And then I had assistants like everywhere, and they were all like quasi assistants. And I wanted one assistant who understood the concept of what I was working for. So what I did was I took everything that I had, I put it into PDF format, I edited it so that it wasn't super long, and then I ended up creating one document out of that. And out of that document, I gave it roles. And here's what I did. I defined the assistant's role. I created a daily flow and execution system for the assistant, and then a system architecture for the assistant. And then how do I error proof, and how do I escalate things, and how do I make things so that I'm not getting so frustrated and I'm not like, why didn't you do this? And just like getting crazy with an AI, like makes no sense. Then I used performance tracking metrics, because you got to have some metrics. Like, what are you using for performance tracking? Is it the 90-day goal? Is it every day you make X amount of dollars? Is it, how many followers you're getting? What is your tracking metric? And then your reporting structure. What do you want? How do you want to report to this? So for me, I use this in the morning to get organized. Okay, what do I need to do? What was I doing yesterday? What's overflow from yesterday? What did I not finish? What did I totally finish? How can I update these different things that I'm working on, these different either accounts, or maybe I'm working on a different project, or I'm working on something for helping people so that they understand like this more in AI. And then a zero deviation policy. Now, this is really important for me because I want that the AI do certain things specifically. Like, for example, don't ask me, do you want me to do this next? Because that just freaks me out. I don't want you to give me more things to think about. I want you to do it 100% correct the first time. And the only way they're going to do it 100% correct the first time is if they know what they didn't do prior. So the final outcome starts with your done right. What does it look like when it's done right? And that's what I started working from. I started working from the end. What does it look like when my AI actually does something right for me? And I went back in and I looked at my documents and I thought, okay, here's what it looks like. It looks like that when the AI does something right, it is super simple for me to move on to the next thing. How many times was I able to move on to the next thing so that I could get the next thing done even quicker? And that was how I structured this AI assistant. Now, I'm going to give you guys this if you DM me. And if you also, you have to DM me, and you've got to definitely subscribe to either YouTube or Substack. YouTube would be great. More subscriptions on YouTube would be awesome. More subscriptions on Substack. I am going to do a paid Substack so that every single month I have a community group Q&A. So I'll be doing that. But I digress. Let's get back to how to build your AI business assistant. So on this framework, I'm using my real framework as this model. Okay, I'm not going to show you my model. I am going to show you a couple of things, but because my model is kind of filled out with my stuff, it's not going to make sense to you. And I don't want my stuff all over the internet anyway, like that. So what I'm going to show you is my N8M build, and then how long that took. And then I'll also show you the CSV. Okay, so the CSV though, I am not going to give that to you as a download. And here's the reason why. If you follow what I'm doing, it's not going to be yours. And this is the one thing that I have learned with prompting just take my template and do it. It's not yours. And so when I started building this using somebody else's template, and it made no sense to me. It was a mess, and I was angry. I was just angry at the whole thing. I just gave up, and I was angry because it was a template of somebody else's working style, of the way someone else was working, the way someone else was running their business. And that's fine if you have, Cody Sanchez or Stephen Bartlett, or maybe, one of the bigger people running their businesses, and they have very specific ways that they do this, but still they're going to say to you, that's how I run my business. You're going to have to figure out how you run your business. And if you aren't sure, this will give you a framework to start with, and it will give you the freedom so that you have a way to think about, what do I want to log? What is it, do I want to log start time? Do I want to log end time? Do I want to log how much time it took to get the video done, to get the edits done, because I'm not using avatars with HeyGen? How long did this all take me? And this is important for me because I want to know how long each project takes me so that I can figure out, okay, what's the ROI on that project? Did I get any people to follow me? Did I get any people to share out my story? Did I get any people that were interested in what I have to offer? I don't know. So that's how I'm keeping track of certain things. Now, there's many more. Whoops, I just hit that. There's many more ideas here that you can use, but I'm giving you a general idea because when you're creating all of this, it's very important that you think about, how do you want to run your business? How do you want to create your AI assistant so that they help you and they're not asking you a ton of questions? There's somebody that I follow actually, and I'm in one of their groups, and when they prompt and they say, do this until you're 95% sure of what you want. Now, that makes sense because the AI is learning more about that person. Now, that person can take what they've got and use that as a template and say, this is how I write. This is how I post. This is how I do my videos. Because now it's 95% sure that those videos are going to get done just like they want them to. So this is the way to train your AI business assistant. Now, I trained my AI business assistant to do things that are super, super cool for me, what I think is cool, and what helps me on my daily basis. And let me just show you exactly what it looks like in N8N as a flow. So I start with a webhook, and then I parse my messages. I create a row. It's literally just creating a row, not really appending it. They call it append. I create a row in the sheet, and then I respond to the webhook. All right. And this all happens when this executes and it's listening for exactly what I want. So at the end of the day, what I do is I write a CURL, a curl, and then I run that through my console. And then I post this. Now, are there easier ways? Sure. If you don't know how to use a terminal, if you don't know how to, get all that techie stuff done, sure, there's definitely easier ways. But easier meaning if it's easier at the end, it's going to be still techie to set up. You have to get it set up first. All right. So in order for you to do this, there's got to be a way for you to keep track, right? So what I did for the first, I don't know, since ChatGPT has been out, basically, I started conversations, and then I took those conversations and I organized them. And that was how I started out with my GPT. And then when I created my GPT, I used all of those instructions and then some, and I literally took this through a tool, and I'll show you the tool actually. You know what I'll do? I'll put it in the link. So I use this tool. It's a prompt reactor, and I created a prompt, and that prompt was like 9 or 12 pages. It was really, really long. So what I wanted to do is make that prompt less techy and more flowy so that it matched what I was saying. So that's how I started with all this. Do you need this? Only if you want it to do this automatically. No, you don't need this. You could just do this in ChatGPT. All right. So all you have to do is open up a ChatGPT and create a GPT. Now, let me show you exactly what I mean when you say create a GPT. So this is the GPT editor, and this is where you can create a GPT. You have to have a pro account, and I think it's like $20 a month or whatever. And you create your GPT, and then you configure your GPT, and then you preview your GPT. Now here in the knowledge is where I uploaded the file. This is where I uploaded this file. So if you're looking at this screen, you'll seeing that this is how to build your AI business assistant. Now this file, what you're looking at here, this was written by GPT, as you can see, because it has M dashes and I can't stand them. So this was written by GPT as a post for how to create your AI business assistant. And that post came from creating the GPT that I created and uploading that file here. So you can only have so many characters in your instructions, and your instructions should not be something that is personal to you because this is public. So make sure that when you're using your instructions, you're not giving away anything that's personal, okay? Emails and things like that, I wouldn't do it. And even if this is just for you and it's not going out to the GPT area, then it's still important that you create your instructions in your upload files, okay? Make sure you PDF this and then upload it. So you're gonna give it a name, a description, instructions, and the description needs to be written for the actual GPT. So if I were to write a description for this, it would be how to build your AI business assistant, and this would be the GPT that I would be describing, okay? But yours is gonna be different, obviously, and your instructions are gonna be different. And then you can refer to the knowledge files up here. I wouldn't give this a lot of knowledge files. I would give it the knowledge files that you need. If you're going to use JSON or if you're going to use JavaScript or whatever you're going to use, put those files, put that code into a separate knowledge bank. Don't conglomerate, like don't push it all together, because if you do, you will have some problems with it reading, because it's going to be reading code, then it's going to be reading instructions. So keep your instructions in one document, keep your code in the other document. Make sure you tell it, refer to the code document when you are writing code, refer to the instructions document when you're writing the instructions or whatever it is, or when you're reading how to write, how to write my posts, how to write my emails, whatever it is. So I leave this no recommended model because I don't recommend any specific model. I just leave it alone. And then I create new action. Like that's it. That's all I do. And then it goes into preview and then I preview it. Okay. So this is a very simple way to do this. And I'll leave this link, the GPTs/editor, below this video. So again, I covered today how to build your AI business assistant. And I showed you in N8N exactly what that looks like right here, okay? And how I built mine. And then I am actually using curl through a terminal to push this to my CSV, okay? And this is my CSV, and this is the outcome, and then I have a goal alignment, all right? So this is mine though. Yours is going to be different. You want yours to be you, not somebody else's. The more templates you get and you use, I think honestly, the harder it is for people, because it stops them from thinking about exactly what they want as their end goal. So I always work from my end goal backwards. If I want X amount of dollars, how am I going to get to that X amount of dollars? Now, granted, as you know my story right now, I'm working with less than $100. I am putting these videos out every single day. I am reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I'm reaching out to anybody that I know for work. Why can't I get work? Well, a lot of people think that AI can do it all for them, and they can. It can do a lot more for you. But setting this kind of stuff up, when you set this stuff up, it's not as easy as you think. And quite honestly, you're not saving a lot of time just by building out a GPT for yourself. You're not saving time for your business when all you're doing is playing on GPTs and you're not getting your business done. So there's a lot of things that I think about that I've done totally incorrectly, and it's been very difficult to kind of get a flow, get a rhythm going. When I started using my own AI assistant to do what I wanted it to do, to be the exact assistant that I want, it took me 8 different documents, and I'm on my 8th document right now. So what do I do to train AI to be better every single day? I go back into the conversations I have with my AI every single day. And I say to my AI, what did you learn from today that you can make yourself better? What is it that you learned about me? What is it that I should know so that you can be better at doing your job? And how should I be prompting you to do your job even better? And so I ask it these questions and it comes up with answers. I take those answers and I say, take this document, the previous document that it had inside of the file section right here. I say, take this document and Now merge these two documents together, keep the same format, and make sure that you add in the information that you're giving me today. So every day that document gets better and better and better. And the reason it gets better is because I am telling it what to do every single day, defining the assistant's role, daily flow and execution. What did it learn? Today we had issues with it trying to Band-Aid something. And I said, don't Band-Aid something. Either get it right or don't. And you got to tell it what to do. Is it a professional copywriter? And what kind of copywriter? What kind of copywriting are you looking for? So is it a professional brander? Who's the professional brander that you're modeling? And what kind of brand colors are you using? What kind of brand font? And all of those things. Now, I'm not a professional brander, so those are the only things I really look at, right? But even then, I'm not a professional brander. I don't go by looks. I go by who has the best information that I'm able to get and utilize right away so that it helps me. What they look like, how they dress, what they drive, and where they live is none of my business. And I don't care because it doesn't affect me. I'm not paying them for it. I'm just learning from them. Now, some people are paying them for it. They're paying handsomely for it. So if you are the kind of person that's looking for that brand person who's looks the look and has the clothes and has the hair and all that stuff, you need to put it into your AI assistant so it knows. So just to recap, we went over the AI business assistant. We went over the N8N flow, how I push it through a curl, what I status. So this is all the statuses, right? What my outcome is, etc. And I showed you the GPT and how to build it and where to build it, which is at the GPT's editor. And I'm giving you the link below to how to write better prompts. Now, I will say that this link below to write better prompts, that's a lesson in and of itself that I'll be doing in a little while because that thing is super hyper amazingly fast and smart and wow, it's just super smart. So if you are using that tool that I'm putting below, then you need to know how to prompt and you need to know what to give it and you need to know what to ask it. And a lot of people aren't thinking in that kind of length. So this helps you to start thinking in that length. What do I give my AI assistant? How do I tell it how to act? How do I define the role? What's the execution system? How do I want them to execute? Execution systems are really, really important. How do I tell it to execute the system? Is it a startup sequence? Is it here's a midday check. So I do have checks within the day of my daily flow, but that's just one of the things. Then I have other conversations that I pull into the assistant and I say, okay, these are the conversations that I had. This is the work that I got done. Make sure that you put this information into the startup sequence. Or into the midday check or into the end of day protocol, whatever it is. And so if I have a Claude research going on, I take that information and I say, synopsize that, right? So Claude, what did I do in this conversation? What did I do in this thread? And give me a synopsis. I take that and I give it back to my assistant and I say, this is what I did in Claude. So everything I'm doing on every single separate tab, if I'm doing something in Descript, if I'm doing something in TeleTV, if I'm doing something in Tavily, if I'm doing something in the GoFundMe that I have that I'll link to below, anything that I'm doing, I synopsize it and then I give it back to my assistant and I tell my assistant, this is what I did, add it to my daily flow and execution system. So I hope that helps you. Again, I'm Nicole. This is Courage in Motion. I've changed the name of my podcast because I think Courage in Motion definitely is a much better name. And I also want to ask you if you would please share this out to as many people, 3 to 5 people who could number one, use this information. Number two, if they need help building these things, for example, I can help them to a certain extent. They have to do a lot of the work though. This is where you come in. It's your business. You have to do some work. Somebody can't just sit here and tell the thing what to do on your behalf and not know anything about your business. You're the one who's got the goals and the dreams. So that's another thing too. When you hire people to do this kind of work, you want to make sure that you are being fair to yourself, fair to your business, and really fair to them, because they're not running your business for you. They're just building you a shell, and they're building you a shell that's going to help you. But if you want to build your own shell and do it like this, then you're going to have to spend the time. You're going to have to spend the days, the hours. What is going to take me, or what is what is going to save me over 40 hours a week is actually taking me 20 hours to build or more. Every week I'll be able to save time. But what did it cost me to build this out so that I do save the time? And that's either time in the cost, that's knowledge in the cost, that's a know-how. How do you know how to do this? Or you pay somebody. So there's only so many ways you can get there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there are other ways. I don't know any other ways, but those are the ways that I know. So if this is helpful for you, DM me and I will send you this document. Also, make sure, again, share this. 3 to 5 people who could use my help, who want to pay me. I work on paid, not free. And then you decide if you like it. And then you decide if I deserve to get paid. That's not the way, I think that's the way that the current administration works right now, but it's not the way that I can pay my bills. And I don't think you pay your bills that way either. So having respect for people and what they do, especially when you're going to hire them, is so important. I've learned that just by hiring people and also being hired. Another thing is, please go and subscribe to Substack, subscribe to YouTube, follow me on LinkedIn, and I will give my other socials as well. I don't post as much. I want to get more automated in my posting, which this is going to help me do, and I will share how I'm doing that. So hopefully this helped you and you're able to get some really good information out of it. I am not going to be editing a lot of this, but I will be here to help you out. If you DM me, I will send this to you. The links, like I said, are below. You can get those links for the prompt generator and also this link for the, this link, the ChatGPT editor link. All right. Have a great day, guys. I'll see you on the next Courage in Motion podcast.